Welcome to Podnutz Daily for March 21st, 2008. It's actually very close to being March 20th still. I missed it by about an hour and 20 minutes. I've been trying to get a podcast in every day this week, but I just missed it by an hour, so sorry about that. Anyway, at least I could get it in tonight. So yeah, that also means it's 1 a.m. in the morning, but I'm wide awake, so here we go. A customer brought in a laptop yesterday, and I worked on it today. It was an HP laptop. Every time he tried to start up the computer, it would get midway through the boot up process where it was running Windows XP. So you'd see the Windows XP screen and the bar scrolling across the screen. Then it would stop, start all over, reboot itself automatically, and just go in an endless loop. What I like to do in this situation is first use the FIXBOOT option, which is in the recovery console. So take a Windows XP disk, if you have your Windows XP original disk, or I think you could get the FIXBOOT program online somewhere. Not sure. Maybe I'll put that in the show notes for you. But if you have your XP disk, throw that in and boot from the disk. You're going to see the blue screen. It's going to load a bunch of drivers, and then it's going to ask you if you want to install Windows or press R to use the recovery console. We want to go to the recovery console. So press R, go through till you get to the prompt, the C prompt, and just type the word FIXBOOT. And it's going to ask you if you want to rewrite the boot sector. You just hit Y for yes, and then type the word exit, and the computer will reboot on its own. Sometimes that'll handle it, and sometimes it won't. In this case, it didn't handle it. And the way you find out if it handles it is just reboot the computer and see if it makes it through the boot process. So since that didn't work, the next thing I do is I use a program called CHKDSK. And CHKDSK takes a little longer than FIXBOOT, but it's still effective in handling these boot up problems. You get to check this the same way. You boot up from the Windows XP CD, and you go to the recovery console, and when you get to the C prompt, just type CHKDSK for CHKDSK, and then space/R. So it's CHKDSK space/R, hit enter, and run that program. Now this program could take 20 minutes, it could take 3 hours, but let it go to completion, and you'll know it's completed because it'll tell you, and it'll give you the C prompt again. After it's completed, just type the word exit. The computer will reboot, and let it boot from the hard drive this time. So take your Windows XP disk out and see if that handles it. In this case, it did handle it. The computer's good as new. Whatever was stopping the computer from booting was corrected with the CHKDSK program. So that was one job done and out of the way. Next thing I want to talk about is Outlook. I know 2 days ago I talked about Outlook Express, and I probably should have talked about Outlook in that podcast because it's similar, but I just was saying what was in my mind fresh that day. So since Outlook was in my mind fresh today, that's what I'm going to talk about. I did a reinstall of Windows operating system, and this particular customer wanted to save all of his Outlook information. So here's how you do that. Before you reinstall the operating system or wipe out the customer's hard drive, make sure you pull the Outlook data out of there and put it in a remote location. Outlook is stored in a PST file, and that is stored in the Documents and Settings folder. So you click on Documents and Settings, and then you choose a user. The user would be the person whose emails you're trying to save. And then you have to turn on Hidden Files and Folders, which you do from the Tools menu of Windows XP in the Windows Explorer. So you go to Tools, and then Folder Options, and then you click on View. There's a tab that's View. Click on the View tab, then scroll down the list till you see Show Hidden Files and Folders. Click on that, and then you will see a folder called Local Settings appear, which wasn't there before. Click on Local Settings, and to get to Outlook Express, you want to click on Identities. To get to Outlook, you click on Application Data. So you got Local Settings, then click on Application Data folder. In there, look for Microsoft. You click on Microsoft, and then in Microsoft, you'll see Outlook, and then open up the Outlook folder, and you'll see a PST file. It's usually called Outlook.pst. Save that baby, put that somewhere else. Then you could safely, erase the person's hard drive and reinstall the operating system and reinstall Outlook. And then what you're going to have to do is run Outlook for the first time, and don't go through the whole wizard process. Just start up Outlook so it creates its own PST file. It's going to create an Outlook folder, and now you have a place to put the Outlook file that you saved into the new folder. So run Outlook for the first time, let it create a PST file, and then just exit out of Outlook completely, close the program down. Now take the old Outlook.pst file that you saved from before and put it back in the location you found it in originally. You're going to have to rewrite over the Outlook folder, the Outlook file that the new installation of Outlook created. So it'll ask you if you want to rewrite over that. You hit yes, because the one it just created has nothing in it. The one you're putting in there has all the stuff in it. And hit yes, rewrite over the Outlook file. And then you can start up Outlook again, and you'll see that all his emails, all his calendar, all his contacts information is there. But the only thing it doesn't copy over is the email account information, meaning his email address, the incoming and outgoing mail servers, and the passwords and that kind of thing. So once you reset those up, the Outlook is going to run just as if it did on his old machine. Okay, a woman came to me today with a computer, and this is a common thing, complaining that she just left Best Buy because they were too expensive. So she found my shop, and I offer a price that's probably 4 times cheaper than Best Buy, which I think is a fair price. The Geek Squad at Best Buy, sometimes I think their prices are borderline criminal. It shouldn't take $500 to save some data off of a woman's hard drive and a laptop. Anyway, she has a computer that also had a boot up problem. She would start her computer up. It would get stuck on the boot up screen, meaning, I'm sure you've seen this where you start up Windows XP and you see the screen that says Windows did not boot properly last time. Do you want to start it in safe mode or safe mode with networking or last good known configuration or normal mode? It would get stuck on that screen and just keeps cycling through and rebooting itself on its own. So similar to the problem I talked about earlier, but a little different. Anyway, I tried FIXBOOT on this one, and I tried CHKDSK on this one. Didn't work. So what I'm going to have to do is reinstall the operating system on her machine just to be safe, just so I make sure she has a fresh installation and there's no errors. The computer is fairly new, and it has a recovery partition on the hard drive, so it's real easy to do a reinstall. She didn't have a lot of information on the computer anyway, so I backed up what she did have, and I reinstalled the operating system. Now, here is how I backed up what she did have on her computer. I took her hard drive out of her laptop, and I used a USB to IDE cable or USB to SATA cable. Some of them actually have both IDE and SATA built into one unit. And what it is a cable. You could just hook up a hard drive to it directly, right to the cable, and the other end of the cable has a USB port. So you just plug the USB right into another computer, and you basically made yourself an external hard drive. That's what the computer is going to recognize it as. And I use this cable a lot for if a person has a crashed computer and they want data saved. Sometimes I'll take their hard drive out, hook it up to this cable, and then just USB it right into another location and have their data safe. At least I just want to make sure that their data is safe while I work on their original hard drive. So that's what I did with this hard drive.